everybody, hi. We're going to do our ascension, our live ascension show. We wanted to do our channeled notes that I've been meaning to get done. There was some channeled notes that I keep delaying because we keep going off topic and vetting new energy and new information that's coming through. So welcome. We're doing our live show today. I've got my little comics and I've got my little papers, and yeah, so hope everybody's doing well. What a beautiful, beautiful July or June, July. I'm already a month ahead. We're going to talk about the energies for the summer. It's always a big time for ascension is the summertime, because it is kind of like the harvest. And so I was just checking to make sure it was even on. I'm not very grounded today, so we'll take in some breath. Just do some breath work. So call in your angels and call in your ancestors, and just visualize the straighter your back that you have. The energy goes up and down the spine, the pillar of light, and just visualize crystalline light going up the spine. And put your feet flat on the ground. And just call in Holy Spirit. Thank you, Holy Spirit. I already feel my crown chakra going. So thank you. Thank you. Hello, beautiful angel. Hello, beautiful angel. We're going to talk about just grounding our energies, because we want to talk about more about our celestial gifts and our celestial powers and our celestial. I call it a power because it is. It's like making us a kind of superhuman and ultra human. So it is a superpower. We've got our little, just giving you our little comic books. Yay. See our superpowers. And so, just allowing ourselves to know that every day we're changing, we're alchemizing, and we're going to be activating these gifts. And we really do have to actually sit down and do the work. How we're going to do it creatively is always how we activate our celestial gifts and our DNA. So it's always going to be important for you to make time to be creative. Yay, creativity. Doing your journaling, your painting, getting outside, doing your journaling and your painting, anything that you can do to have the Gaia is always our best reset. Gaia is constantly resetting us. Gaia is constantly, giving us that energy that we need to reset our constitutions within our body, the biophysical, the biochemical, the biocosmic now. Biocosmic, wow, I like that. The biocosmic, because we're getting more and more cosmic energies around the planet. And so I know that I've had my papers and my drawings kind of against the little computer here, so I'm going to kind of show them. But I wanted to bring the channeled notes, and I was just feeling really heightened and really high. So let's do just a little bit more grounding, and we're just going to call in the angels, and I'm just going to show you just how I do it. You can obviously there's lots of really good videos online to find yourself a good meditation practice is so important. So just make sure that you're doing that daily. I would say in the morning and in the afternoon, just to give yourself that intention of setting the vibration, of setting your vibrational chemistry, setting your vibrational intentions, so that you're directing your energy more fluidly throughout the day, because you want to make sure that you're going to be on that highest creative timeline that you want. The highest creative timeline that means something for you is always that intention. So intention from the inner and then the outer, and then always remind yourself that you're pulling everything from above to below. Because again, if there is no above, there is no below. So hello everybody on the line, those that have benevolent intention and benevolent hearts. Just open up your divine sacred heart, and it is in the very center of your body. It is a diamond shape. And just open up your divine sacred heart, calling in the highest vibrational love and light and the violet flame that's going to bathe your multidimensional bodies and your fields. And just call in the violet flame. I just call in the divine violet flame, Lord Saint Germain, and Lady Amethyst. Those are always good masters to call for the cleansing and the clearing and the working with the violet flame in very intricate ways. You can work with the violet flame in myriad of ways to help realign your body, realign the water body of the Holy Christ within you, and then just sweep away up and out, up and out, up and out. And this is why I always use my hand motions, because I sweep up and out from the lowest chakra out, and I sweep up and out of any energies, any vibrations, any impalements, anything that is coming at you throughout your day, and you're just bathing with the Holy Christ, and just visualize the golden white light that just comes from above down, come above down, and come above down. Remember, your multidimensional fields are 8 feet around you. So just make sure, and if you're Reiki, using your hands is always good, because you're increasing the oscillation in your vortex. And so you can actually feel, and you can play with it and your higher self and just feel the circular motion that you're doing with your hands, and just intend the circular motion to be in unison and collaboration with your chakras. And if you pay attention, you can actually direct your consciousness through your chakras in just harmonizing with a gentle flow and oscillation. And you can actually lovingly command your chakras to spiral. So we're opening our chakras and we're just going to cleanse them, and we're just going to bathe them and just going to soothe them with red and orange and yellow and green and blue and indigo and violet. And we're going up to the gold, our soul star chakra, and we're going to bathe ourselves with gold and crystalline white light. And we really want you to pay attention. In our videos, we've been asking and just giving a quick little visualizations to connect with your body, even if your eyes are closed or open, and get used to using your third eye in the loving commandmentship of directing consciousness. Because that's what we do. We use our consciousness and the direction of our consciousness with our chakras. That's why your chakras are so important to connect with every day. Create alignment every day with your chakras. Create a connection and relationship with your chakras every day, because it is your spiritual body. And your spiritual body is absolutely preparing its light body. And the light body is what holds itself within the Merkaba. And the Merkaba is all that you are as a spiritual being of the Holy Christ. Without the matter, you are still the Merkaba. You know, if you're going into an experience in the Pleiades, your Merkaba is still there in you and with you and of you. So that's why we've been saying the affirmations: I am in spirit, I'm of spirit, I'm as spirit, and all these things I am that I am. And then just allowing the concentration of your oscillation and your hand movements to lovingly command the energy within your Merkaba, the energy within your chakras, to be the highest of blessed. And we're asking the angels to assist those that so desire, that have the benevolent, pure heart, to learn and to heal and to allow themselves the loving commandment of reunion and connection with their bodies and their light bodies and their Merkabas and their chakras and their healing teams and their guides. And their higher self is the most important, because their higher self is their godliness. Their godliness has allowed them then to create new experiences and new practices, and all that we are within all that we are as light and human, matter and tissue, crystalline and carbon. Take a deep breath. And call all of your energy in. I call my energy into myself. All energy, all light. I'm calling all the energy and all the light from all over the universe, from all over the multiverse that is mine and meant for me. Return to me now, return to me now, return to me now. Pure heart, pure mind, pure body and soul. Pure heart, pure mind, pure body and soul. I am one with the Holy Christ. I am one as the Holy Christ. I am in and of and as the Holy Christ. Thank you, Holy Spirit. And now we say, when the Holy Christ, we don't want you visualizing that you are Jesus. You have the Christ consciousness within you, and you're connecting, as we've been talking about, we're understanding ourselves as higher vibrational beings, and it's to get out of the box of the old ways and days. So sometimes my words don't mean what they mean. So being of your own Christed consciousness, which means that you are heart, mind, body, and soul, the crystalline energy, the carbon energy, you're all that you are in loving commandment. You're now reunifying the heart, mind, body, and spirit and soul. We're reconnecting the Christ consciousness. We're reconnecting who we are as Christ conscious, reconnecting our Christ consciousness and our chakras. And it's up to you to understand and create that new, higher dimensional experience of who are you as a Christ conscious, who are you as a consciousness, alive being. To be consciously awake and aware, it is a vibration. After we do our breath work and after we do our grounding, after we do our harmonization of recalling in that connection and relationship, that's called alignment, I'm teaching you how to create alignment. And it just takes a few minutes every day. So I would suggest doing this practice a couple of times a day so you can get used to understanding what is really alignment. How are you lovingly commanding your body, heart, mind, and soul? So you're calling in your spirit, you're calling in your energies, you're calling in your guides, and you have an 8-foot field that it's up to you to clear and cleanse. Your aura is an 8-foot field. So are you clearing and cleansing your aura? It's very similar to the universe, right? You have an 8-foot field in and above and around you. Are you calling in that crystalline light to bathe and cleanse your field, and to bathe and cleanse your chakras, because it's ultimately up to you to do that. And so allowing yourself to understand that from here on out, you will be noticing and honoring yourself. That's what we activate our gifts and our skills through the Christ consciousness. It is a multidimensional gift. So if we are multidimensional beings of carbon and crystalline, how are you taking care of yourself? How are you nurturing yourself and nourishing yourself? Thank you, Cluedo, sweetheart. And there's still the investigators on the line, so whatever their comments are saying, they're all being investigated. So thank goodness that we have, there will be arrests that will be made for the proven attacks and discriminations that have been on my life and my offerings. So thank you for all those that are coming and being respectful and truly want to live and learn and be Christ consciousness and raise your vibration to a fifth dimensional experience. And so I just showed you how I do it as a conduit. I work with the energy, I work with the fields. When I'm using my energy and I'm working with Gaia, and when I'm doing my prayer work, I work with my hands a lot because it's my tool for Reiki, direction and focus of energy. And how I see things I see things in threads. I see things, if I'm given information, then I see things as threads, and I call in the energy, and then I harmonize it within who I am as the Christ conscious, and then I send it out as my co-creation. And so that's how I do my co-creation work. I don't do any of my work as a conduit, as a healer, as a vibrational presenter. I don't do any of it to affect anybody. I just send it out to the omnipresent field. I just send light to the omnipresent field, or I send light out to the trees and the consciousness. I send it to the consciousness, and then I allow God and the omnipresent and all of the beautiful angels and the beautiful, there's lots of multidimensional beings that are in and around our planet that are assisting, move the energy. And plus, I always know that everybody within the omnipresent consciousness, our collective, will call in whatever energies that they're magnetically connected to anyways. So if you're at a really low vibration, and you're not working with yourself, you're not working with your higher self, you're not caring to work with energy in that way, as is with benevolence, then you're only going to call in malevolence, because that's where your energy sits. So I understand that as a magnetic teacher and a healer, that is, that's the quantum equation. But I still, in my prayer work, that's what I do. I send prayer and I send love to wherever the energy is needed, or wherever I'm given that thread. And then I just send the energy of light there. I send the energy of love and peace there. And then it's up to anybody that's in that field, up to the collective to say, can I call in light from the omnipresent? And the light is always there, but it's up to you to call it in. Just like I was talking to my guides a little while ago, I was saying I'm sending, these particular clients, I'm sending them lots of rainbow love and lots of rainbow light, because, they've done so much for me and they've given me donations and things like that. And the angel said, you can send light to people all day long if you want, but they're the ones that have to sit and actually call in that light that you've blessed them, because it's up to them. It's free will, right? So you're always giving that energy, because you're such a giving person. You are adding light to the omnipresent field as in general to the collective, and that's what I do. I just keep offering love and light and harmonics to the collective, because I know that it benefits. But if for a person to have specific benefit access to it for their heart, mind, body, and soul, they actually have to sit in meditation and call in those light codes that I've sent them. And so, Spirit says that is the free will choice. So you can, just like we say as if we're parents, right? We can do all the prayers we want for our children, but the children actually have to accept light within their hearts. They have to actually accept the light and start working with the light for that engagement. And that's all about quantum energy. So that's what sometimes we forget, as light workers, and I like to bring it back as remembrances, because everything in our universe is about that quantum equation. And so if there isn't the intention to engage, whatever vibration anyone sits at, right? This is the divine sacred heart, and it always sits right at the center. And if you wanted to look up the Shroud of Turin, as soon as I saw that, I knew that it was the real Shroud of Turin. It was the real Shroud of Jesus, because I just had that vibrational hit. And if you actually look up the Shroud of Turin and you see the images of it, there is, on that Shroud of Turin, there is a diamond that is right in the center of his body. And before I knew anything about my work is vibrational, this was a long time ago, I had a vision of the divine sacred heart when I started to do my drawings. And then Jesus had shown me the Shroud of Turin. And so that's when I started to work with the vibration. His vibration, when he left his body, left such an imprint that it left the imprint of the diamond, the divine sacred heart. And so that is something that I work with in all of my drawings. When you're harmonizing into the center of your being and you're neutralizing whatever energy it is you're in, you're calling all of the omnipresent within your divine sacred heart. And that is the divine feminine, because remember we talked about the axional lines. So you have a triangle on the left and the right, and you have a triangle from above and below. And that symbolizes also too is the Merkaba. So in that center of your divine sacred heart, it is like a Merkaba that sits here as well as the Merkaba that you sit within. And so allowing yourself to visualize the cleansing and the clearing of your divine sacred heart, and it is the harmony of the mother and the father, the union of the divine feminine, divine masculine, coming together as the triad, right? Because the triangle is a triad, and then the triad from up and down. And as we said, if there is no above, there is no below, and if there is no within, there is no without. So how are you working with the energies as within and as without? And again, if you choose to direct it to anybody specifically, know that you're going to have karma either way. So if it's always about your intention. So we're teaching you how to have respect and honor in alignment with the universal laws. If you're going to look into being a practitioner, seek your studies from those that have been practiced and initiated with the councils of light, with the masters of light. And the masters of light have also training within the Melchizedekian order, which is the Metatronic studies. And that is through Lord Sananda. And that's who I train with. I train with the masters. As soon as I go to sleep and I'm on my light ships, I'm in the Lord Sananda training. I train with the masters because Jesus is my twin ray. He's not my twin flame, he is my twin ray. We were born from the same ray of light in the divine feminine, divine masculine. And so we are twin rays of each other. So we always have those lifetimes that are parallel so that we can offer in the growth and the expansion of the Divine Father's plan. And so that allows us that energy. And they were telling me about, they're doing a lot with light codes. My higher self and the teams are doing a lot with light codes because as I'm ascending, my multidimensional bodies and my DNA and all of those things are going to require new light codes because my bodies are changing constantly, especially if I'm coming into a union. So there's light codes that are being researched right now and really looked into in depth so that they can see what the ascending human is going to need in a light code when you're entering into union and you're rising up. So it's very, very intricate. It's very, very complex. But the more that we start understanding everything is light, our intelligence is light, the more our cells get light, our cells are genius, so think of your cells and your multidimensional bodies as the aspect, you're a vessel of God. So your cells have access to be intelligent. Your brain and your tissues have access to be intelligent. And it's all how you're feeding and how you're nourishing it and how you're giving yourself that approval to be that divine goddess essence and that divine God essence, and giving yourself those allowances to have the energies live through you because it is a vibration. When you do your alignments as we just did, and if you just rub your hands very gently without creating a lot of friction, and just let a layer of light, and energy come in between your hands, and you can feel the vortex you're creating with love and light because I intend to create a ball of love and light. My energy vortex from within and without and above and below. And I'm creating with all that is Gaia and all that is spirit and the mother and the father and the divine holy heavens, and the intention of being playful within and being playful without. And you're creating this beautiful ball of play and beautiful ball of light and all of these things. And then you just send it out to a co-creation of, if there's land that's having trouble, the Middle East, and just sending love to those aspects of light and love and just sending it out. And that's just Reiki. You're just using that energy to lovingly flow love and light and peace and harmony. And so that's, in my daily work, in my prayers, that's what I do. I do a lot of work with the land. I do a lot of work with water and the air, clearing the air and things like that. And so that's what I do because I understand that everything is a toroidal, whether it's my toroidal or the 8-foot field that people sit within. It's still understanding light consciousness. Who are you? Your divine sacred heart is the toolkit that keeps the health of above and below. And the divine sacred heart is that central mechanism that, just as God's source is the omnipresent, I think of the divine sacred heart as the omnipresent because it clears and cleanses the chakras above and it clears and cleanses the chakras below. So if you're running things and if you're living, as we're going to talk about, the sequencing of life, if you're allowing, life to live through you, through the heart space, and you're intending, I am a consciously awake and aware heart space, divine being, you're going to start running more choices through your divine sacred heart, and things are just going to seem more easy and more fluid. You're not going to have to think too much about really big life decisions, because you're going to know, because you're balanced in the divine feminine masculine energies. Remember the triad. And the triad, when you're balanced, it's just a natural order of operations. This is what we need to do, and it's a very sure knowing, it's a very clear knowing. That's alignment. And those that have operated from very ego minds, which is the smaller, lower mind, the higher mind is the higher mind. The higher mind is the alignment of all that your chakras are to the highest level of consciousness that you have to tap in with the highest realms above. And your higher self goes right to the 13th dimension. It will always go into the highest level of Source Creator. So again, your higher self has access to all 13 dimensions. And if the creators, and you are on the creators, I'm a creator God, so I have those creative, when I create, that's how I create. I use the consciousness, I use the invisible, I use the unseen. That's how I create. That's where God is showing through my life's experience and through my life story. Yes, you don't need anything but just to go within, no matter how hard and no matter how strenuous and no matter how complicated and challenging the experience might be of what is on the outer. Those circumstances aren't the final story, because you're working with the intention of Source Creator and love within. You're running everything through your divine sacred heart. And that's when miracles happen, and you're just manifesting because it is who you are. So just take, straight back. And when I say straight back, your back, like if you can see, my back is actually straight. So straight back, meaning that the light gets in and up and your spine, right? So we want to make sure that when you're doing all of your light work, your spine and your heart is everything to alignment. Your spine is everything to alignment, and your divine sacred heart is that tool mechanism right in the center of your body that feeds the above and feeds the below. So it is kind of important that the alignment, when you're talking about alignment, am I aligned? Yeah, my back is straight, my shoulders are straight, I've got breath coming in the cavity, breath coming out the cavity, I'm moving in divine sacred light. You're visualizing light from above, visualizing light and colors. All of your colors of your chakras are harmonized, and it's like a big, everybody's been in car washes. So just think of going into a Merkaba and a field of light car wash. And so we can call it just a vessel wash. And just visualize the vessel wash and these beautiful, gentle, omnipresent brushes, just brushing in and out all of your chakras, and they're brushing in and out of the aura. And all of these beautiful lights, and the beautiful lights are going all the way above and below, and they're every color of the crystalline rainbow. And they're just bathing you and just lightening up your vessel. And you should feel lighter when you're doing alignment work, because you're intending light. You're calling in light. You're giving permission for light. And Spirit said very, very, poignant to me, and it's very simple. This is always Spirit. Spirit's always very simple. It's always very cut and dry, and it's very, profound. Little affirmations of accepting light into your life, physically, mentally, emotionally, spiritually, and sexually, will assist you in raising your consciousness, because that is a statement of consciousness. And why we get to practice with you of connecting the harmony of the visualization of closing your eyes and opening your eyes. You're using your third eye, your spiritual eye, and you're using your physical eyes. You're using your physical body as well as the non-physical spiritual body. This is why I do the movements in the hands, and I tell you about what I'm doing so that you can connect the physical and the non-physical. That's the intention. I'm connecting my spiritual self, my soulful self. I want to be soul infused. I want to feel what my soul feels like. If I have a gift that's being turned on from one of my celestial timelines, can I be that version of me that is authentic and genuine in how I move my hands, and I'm constantly working with energy, and this is just how I am naturally. So I'm constantly moving in the energy. Can you be like this in that activation? Because it means something. You've got energy running through you, and you're just getting reused to, and you're just getting refined, and you're going to remember how of those timelines and those characters and those versions of you used energy. Many of you are going to be opening up to the shamanic energies that you've had, being herbalists, getting out into the land and understanding that you know things about flowers and their healing properties. And getting that Gaia energy to activate you in what you've always known. It's just within your DNA. And when you're calling in light and you're intending light and you're having light be a part of your life, intending it is a Christed statement. It's alive. It's got essence. And this is where we go back again. Those that are practiced and are devoted in their expansiveness and enhancement of who they are as a practitioner, as a spiritual guide, as an energy worker. You have to, it's good. You'll be proven, if you will, for yourself. What are your daily practices with energy? Are you cleansing and clearing? Are you, do you see and feel yourself expanding and contracting with your gifts and skills? What are the things that you're working on? What is that expansion? What is the contraction? So that's how you always know somebody is always in alignment of working with their higher self, because they speak in the way that I speak. Your teams are going to test you for that expansion and contraction. Where are you learning? Where are the hiccups? Where have you gone and just had a couple of weeks off and taken a detour to practice one of your gifts and be harmonious with spirit? Those are things that truly aligned people do. And they want to get deeper, and they want to get more connected, and they want to have that higher relationship with spirit, with their guides. And so those are things to look for. If you're seeking out spiritual guides, look for those that are actually harmonized and intentionally threaded and sewn with energy. They speak of energy cleansing. They speak of energy being alive. They speak of everything within creation, if it's a physical or non-physical. It is the omnipresent, and you're bringing it to life through your consciousness. Consciousness is everything. So these are things that, to keep you in discernment. There are those that talk about energy and they talk about being spiritual, and they're very raw and green, and they don't have a lot of experience, and they just are entering the ideas of vocational experience and exploration, and that's fine. But for those that are truly going to be in front of people that are designed and trained, initiated, practiced, kind of over-initiated, as Spirit said this morning. I'm kind of over-initiated. I've had so many initiations, through the councils and through my life experiences, that it's time for me to get out and get busy, because I've got so much experience behind me. The only way to truly, see the benefits of my expertise is to actually get working with the collective on a global level. And so it's going to be really important that I do that. And I bring all of these higher vibrational teachings and teachings we had in the temples of Egypt. A lot of what I say, one sentence I might say is a sentence from a temple teaching from Egypt, from one of my Egyptian timelines. And so it's up for those that have the hearts and minds and ears to hear to take those little bits of morsel of Christ consciousness and then do their own inner work with their meditation practices, with their consciousness practices. So those of you that are truly on the path of vocational alignment with who you are as your higher self, then it's going to be a practice of you working with your consciousness every day. I usually suggest as soon as you wake up, do your consciousness practice, and doing it at night. Yeah, Steve Noble is really good. Steve Noble has lots of great meditations. Thank you, Cluedo, for mentioning that. Yeah, he's got lots of great meditations. Steve Noble, his channel, his YouTube channel is just meditations. He's got great visualization. So he's always been a really great light worker to pull from. And there's also the binaural beats, if you can find a good binaural beat meditation channel online too. And just use those binaural beats to get reconnected with the very pure essence of who you are as a song with source, because each and every one of us are in the highest realms, and in our very first incarnation with source, we are breathed as a song. And so that is our very first remembrance, and that's our first separation of our becoming into birth with source creator. And of course, the perfection of who we are, our unity, that is the 13th dimension as we know it right now. But that is our highest connection and evolution with source, is to be completely harmonized in a song of note with source creator. And then it's broken down from 13 to however many dimensions we've experienced, because 3D is the lowest, right? 1 and 2D is where they're operating within creating the land and all of that. Those are the creational reality realms. And then the third dimension is the very lowest dimension of co-creatorhood. And that's where a lot of the wounding is, because you're sorting out and sussing out your soul's blueprint. Who are you? What do you exist within? And what's going on within you? And then you're rebalancing the divine feminine masculine energy. You're just coming into understanding of it. I mean, there's so many people on the line right now. They're walking around life and they have no intention or understanding of what the divine feminine masculine energies even mean, and they're not working with them on a daily basis. So that's okay. That's maturity as well. The human collective has been held off of all of these profound teachings, and it's all we are. So I don't understand why we haven't been learning it sooner. If you have been in the awakening enlightenment, genre and field, this has been going on since the early 80s. So those of us that have been awakened, we've heard about all of these things since the 80s, and we've been tuned in, and we've just been slowly getting ourselves, back up to a higher consciousness as to who we truly are as energy. How do we start operating and working with energy on a daily basis, just like brushing your teeth? Working with your energy daily, inviting energy in, inviting spirit in, inviting the light in. And just know that whatever your core vibration is at, whatever your beliefs and your perspectives are, that's part of the law of attraction and manifesting, is cause and effect. Whatever your current vibrational energy is at that moment, that's what you're going to be inviting in. So what we also teach you is, because everyone is still at a fairly new energy, and they're just starting to understand the working of energy, the movement of energy, and I have full commandmentship over that. Okay, this is a whole new world, what do I do now? Because you want yourself to be in health and awareness and higher capacity and aptitude is who you are as light, carbon, and crystalline. Start working with light and inviting it in, and then start connecting with your team so that you can start using it to the highest capacity and the highest evolutionary skills that you are. Because my skills and gifts with light and consciousness is not what somebody who's just signing on. This is where sometimes my teams are telling me to use more parables and use more stories, because my consciousness is higher than most on the line. So what I have to do, which is challenging, is I have to bring in the highest vibrational informations, and I have to challenge myself with a version of me that is high consciousness. And then I also have to teach at levels of whoever is in front of me. So I'm constantly doing a dissection of bringing in the energy that I need so that I stay motivated and I stay enthused, because otherwise I get bored, right? Because I'm high functioning. I want the energy, I want the information so that I can start drawing it out. I want to draw it out. I want to make papers. I want to make studies on it, right? So I have to have that version of me that I create, and splitting my consciousness, and then say, okay, how can I make the energy of that one topic work this way, and this way? Because there's people at various dimensional understandings. They're going to get what, it's not for me to do force that in any way. People are going to get what they're going to get. That's why I always say, go back and listen to our videos, any video that you pick up and pull up, and just, do your housework and listen to it. And then when you're in a more relaxed state and you finished your meal and you're at a relaxed state, you want to do some learning, some consciousness learning, some capacity and aptitude. That's the inhale and exhale. That's how you know somebody is in the essence of Source Creator, because they actually do the work. They want to do the work. They want to become one with Source. They want to be that vessel of Source. So you have to actually do the job. There are those that have, many of those that have been using my work, and they say that they're consciousness and they say that they're spiritualists and things like that, but all they're doing is they're just copying my content, and they're copying my words, and they're using my energy, and they harvest my energy, and they cloak my energy. It will still never be the vibration of purity of who I am. There will always be a difference, because their vessel is entrained in their vessel of energy. Their vessel core vibration is not believing in who they are as a Christed being. So already there's a veil of illusion and deceit. Mine is just pure me. This is who I am. So just know that, even if they use copied material and they're a doppelganger, and even if they're speaking what sounds like spiritual words, their core essence and their core vibration is self-deceit. So that is the energy that they're running their information through. This is who I am, and this is where we say, who are you? What do you exist within? What's going on within you? When you do the work, this is just pure, genuine, authentic offering. And therefore, thus then, the vibrational essence. It's a vibrational essence, and you can feel it. So there is a quantum experience that goes on. As we said earlier, when we're talking about the very structure of creation, there's always that quantum mechanic experience. There's always going to be that dichotomy, and you're here to align it in the divine sacred heart and then bring out that new offering. This is why it's always good to allow yourself breath, allow yourself grounding. What is going on within you right now? And then how do you want to direct and intend your focused energy for your new creational reality? Because it's your reality. But to know who you are, Christ consciousness. What is consciousness? It's the inhale and the exhale. It's the doing of the work, as above, so below, as within, so without. You're constantly churning. You're constantly working with energy. You're constantly taking that belief, that doesn't work with me anymore. I can't even believe I believed that. Thank you. I learned so much. Wow, I'm such a great rounded person. If I could believe that, then I could believe something really high. Why can't I believe that I can, move things with my mind? Let's start working with our consciousness in higher vibrational ways, and really letting go of all the lower vibrational stuff that keeps everybody in separation. But it's important that you accept light, if you're wanting to be in a vocational alignment of teaching and helping others, to be in with the masters and to be in with the highest of the systems of light. The systems of light are what I call the galactic federations, because the galactic federations showed me a couple of years ago. They're also working with various tutors and teachers like myself on the planet, because we come from a multiverse experience and we have codes and access points within ourselves that we're activating from other timelines and other universes, because they're just showing me the cord right now. There is one of the cords that are connected to another universe that is slightly up. They're showing me slightly up, because remember I said in the triad of the universes, there's always going to be one universe that's lower, one in the middle, and then one that's always higher. That's how the energies of all the multiverses work. It's the omnipresent flow. So at a grander scale, that's what it is. There's always a constant infinite experience of universes. And so they're just showing me one slightly up. So that is one that I'm connected with. My energy is starting to pick up now, so I'm channeling. So I just wanted today just to be fun. I'm going to channel the notes from our last couple of days that I didn't get done because we kept diverting. And we're going to talk about the clairs again. So I'm presenting all of this as a prelude because we want to talk about the clair gifts again. And so we're just activating the clair gifts by accepting ourselves as light, accepting ourselves as multidimensional being. Multidimensional means you are constantly changing in every second, every breath. So with intention, make sure your backs are nice and straight. In the heart and the capacity, this is the heart area, the capacity of love and light. This is where your light will be known. This is the, for divine feminine. I've always found this area, it's just the most sensual area for divine feminine. The collarbones and the shoulder. It's just a very sensual energy. It's a very sensual goddess energy. And this is the presentation of that you're known by your light. And so as an energy worker and healer and a stylist, when I'm styling, I usually tune into the core, the core energy of the body to see how does the energy want to be expressed? How does it want to be represented? And then I style along with, feeling into those energies. Is there colors? Is there textures? Something within the soul and the spirit itself that wants to be expressed right now. So this is the center core of your expression. And those people that are in entertainment, when they're working into a new, arena of expressing themselves, they're going to be feeling into their chakra systems. Who am I in this moment? Who am I in this energy to feel more? I'm accepting more light. I'm accepting the liveliness of my chakras. And as we said earlier, you can tune in and actually intend to connect with every chakra as it's opening and spinning. So that's what I mean. As a vibrational teacher, healer, and conduit, I'm very intricate in feeling those threads of expression. Your chakras are discs of expression. That's what your chakra is. It is expressionary. If you're not using your chakras slow down and they veil and they close up. They're not spinning at all. Someone that practices the dark arts, those that practice negative satanic rituals, those that are in the darker energies and the darker realms, their chakras are very closed and low and there's no light getting in them because that was their intentional choice. There is no movement in their chakras at all. Therefore, that's then there is no light coming from above and below. So therefore, that's then when they're standing saying that they're a spiritualist and just reading my work, that is the vessel that the energy is being read through. And that's why we said there's no gifts in that. You're simply trying to have a low, it's a no sense of self. You've disconnected yourself from who you are because that's not you, it's me. And that's where everything is vibrational. My gifts and my work is encoded for me. It's my creation. It's my download. I present it. I express it. It's my creation. Therefore, that's then in the perfection of God has always said, when you're creating who you are in the world and you're offering yourself who you are, I do this in my vocational alignment sessions, is we get to the core of who are you in the vibration of Christ consciousness. Who are you in the vibration of what's your soul's blueprint? What's your soul's theme? What are you here to express, explore, and experience as the collective offering? What is the collective asking of you, and what is it that you're going to offer? What is that juice of unity? What is that juice of perfection, of authenticity and genuineness? Who are you at the core? What is your core vibration of genuineness? And so I've always had that genuineness because a lot of the outer that I've seen, it's not appealing to me. It's very superficial, disconnected. And so my goal is to help reconnect people with the spirit within so they can get to feel who they are as an authentic being and create from that authentic space. Entertainers are going to start creating with the harmonization with their chakras, because that's an authentic expression of heart and soul. And that's when you start to just write pieces and you cry writing them, because that is your authentic expression. It cannot get any more raw. That is, I got goosebumps everywhere. So that is the more, or leveling up in the consciousness of expression in our chakras. So I could do a class on that separately, right? Enhancing the expression of your chakras. Every chakra has its unique expression, and as you're moving up the scale of consciousness and in your awakening, you're doing the work every day, you're connecting with spirit every day, and you're doing your morning and your evening, and you're doing your expression voice, because your throat chakra is the voice of connection to all of your multidimensionality. It's all of your you're calling through your voice, you're calling all that you are in all of your 8-foot field. You're bringing your cells to life, you're bringing your chakras to life, you're commanding the light to who you are. It's very purposeful, and why I have very clear tonations, I have very clear instructions, I have very clear commandmentship, and it's always in love. I'm commanding the connection. If you close your eyes, I'm commanding the connection of my toes and my ankles and my knees and my hips and all of the sexual energies that are in the sexual aura centers there. We're going to cleanse those out. And you can just feel your skin already start to get goosebumpy, because you're commanding it in a loving way, and you're bringing your voice, your multidimensional aspect of physicality. You're calling in the harmonization of your spirit, and all that is being harmonized as source, because you're godly. So I'm using my voice, I'm using my throat chakra with the love of who I am, with the passion of who I am, as the Divine Mother and the Divine Father, both within me, harmonized and balanced. And my breath is grounding my body, physical, mental, emotional, spiritual, and sexual. My spine is beautiful and straight, and I've got light coming in, and I've got light coming in. I accept light, I accept light, I accept light. My voice is pure light. And just with a tone of you can clear away those densities and wherever your field is. So working with tones and working with sounds to clear away densities, and to really, it's like pressing the darkness out of your field. So I visualize the core spine of me being golden, and that golden light pushes out the densities, it pushes out the impalements of magic, whatever it is that was impressed upon you. Even walking around in a really negative environment. Some of us, sometimes when we went to family functions and things like that, you'd roll your eyes and say, oh God, here we go. Because you got to repair your body. You'd have to clear your fields and clear your bodies when you left, because it was just the same old family, dysfunction, and the same things that were rolling around. And why you choose after a while to just be within higher vibrational embedding and embodiment. Because it just saves you that clearing and cleansing. It doesn't mean you can go and have a good time and you're constantly in your high vibration, but you do get to understand and feel why it's been so important for me to share my story, because there's been so many people that will be coming up from these really low vibrational underground experiences, and they're choosing to be, the source creator will make sure that everything is shaken upside down. If the last human on the planet is choosing to go for the ascension ride, there will be nothing that will stop source from making that happen. So if it means that every trafficking ring will come down, every trafficking ring will come down. That's how important evolution to your soul is. And there's nothing that God will stop at to make that happen. That's why I'm here. That story I gave you about that little girl, going to be a world leader one day, that was me. There's so many alternate timelines that we all exist within, and you're healing those little bits of soul fragment bit by bit by bit by bit. And you've got to be raw with yourself and say, wow, I'm going to do whatever I can to help you, because you're going to be a great leader, because all you've done is inspire people to be great people. Why can't you live in truth today? I want each and every one of you to feel how good it feels to connect with such a soulful, spiritual essence. And I offer that to you just so raw and so genuine and so authentic, because I want you to remember how it feels to be true and real and vibrationally aligned with life. So if we're sitting down and having coffee and we're just sitting down as a sacred tribe, feel your body and reconnect your body. Feel your voice of spirit and reconnect your voice with spirit. Your reality of the outer is of the inner. So who are you? I'm a magnificent being of light. You want to work with me? Do you want to play and you want to have some fun? Do you want to create some magnificence? Do you want to see your body change within the next 30 days to become alive and tapped in and turned on? So that when you talk about your chakras, you can actually feel them spinning within you. And it's like, wow, what's going on in my chakras? I can just sit down and what's this most magnificent piece of information I can pull from my second chakra spirit? And you can pull up and you can start doing channeled notes. And then you can present it to the world and you can offer that as your vocational alignment. You have a way of connecting with chakras like nobody else. Then teach it, offer it. And have those connections that your pure intention, I just want to connect with humanity. I want my divine sacred heart. I want all that I am. And I want to have the most beautiful conversation with you. Are you in? Do you want to open up your divine sacred heart? Do you want to feel what it feels like to be a spirit walking in your body? When you have a conversation with someone, do you want it to be enlightened? Do you want it to carry impact of the spirit of your voice? Do you want to know that when you sing and when you write and when you speak, it actually has a difference and it actually changes the chemicals in the air? It actually alters the essence of the omnipresence. It matters how you step on the planet. That's what that means. That's what the Christ meant. That's what I mean as the Christ. I'm carrying on vibrations that Jesus left for me and the Masters left for me and Saint Germain left for me. I see that vibration. I feel that vibration and I can carry on. Those codes are mine. My work is mine. It's not going to mean anything to anybody else. They're going to look at it and they're just going to read it. Okay, that's a number 14. That's a 13. That says movement. That says dimensional aspects of personality. What does that mean? When I wrote that, this goes to show you how multidimensional your working with your teams is and how you connect with multidimensionality. Because I'm a conduit, because I'm a multifaceted reader of energy, that's what really a conduit is. It's like reading the dodecahedron. That statement I wrote right there, is that the one? Yeah, dimensional aspect. When I wrote that, when I was drawing this out, it might just look very, juvenile. That one statement that I wrote, I'm now looking at it and I can go in and I can do another channel just on that one statement and I can open up that box. I can open up that gift. I can open up that light. That's a channel right there. That's what I mean by codes. I'm dropping these codes. When I write that, this might look very juvenile. This might look juvenile. Somebody that's creating this on an AI, on a computer, they're just going to copy what this is. When I look at this, this is a download. So now I can take this piece, which I do. This is why I keep all my drawings. I keep all my drawings, right? I keep my drawings because when I'm drawing stuff out, sometimes there'll be a little code there and there'll be a light there. And I say, okay, I want to look at that sentence. What does that sentence mean? And then I'll draw it out and I'll expand upon it. That's what I mean by Christ consciousness. Those people looking at it, they're going to look up this and they're just going to read that sentence. They don't have the capacity to expand and contract with God. I do. That's what a conduit is. Nobody can be me. That's why I said when you're practicing your gifts and skills and you're calling on your clairs, this is doing the work. And I've proven it for me. I don't have to prove it to anybody. I'm trying to give you in the most 3D way what codes and activations mean. When I say there's codes in your field, there's codes in your field. It's actually real. So if you sit with a journal, you sit with paper, however you want to do it, and you just sit and you connect and you call in your higher self and you do what we just did a few minutes ago and you call all aspects in, you call in all your light, you call in all your energy, you call in your higher self, and you just sit with your journal and you sit with a pen and paper. And you say, what is the highest code of information in my field or in my chakras right now that will give me and provide me the highest benevolence of my health and my wellness? Right? And then bit by bit, you just get one sentence, you get one statement, and then expand on it. What are you saying intuitively? So if I take this one sentence and I take out some paper, I'll start channeling that expansive information. This is how God always knows. The creation is always expanding. The codes are there. And that's why Spirit will say, okay, Joanna, sit down and channel. There's lots of stuff that you got to anchor into the grids. Because I know that I'm a conduit, I'm a vessel of God. So that means that if God gives me a statement, I can look at this next week and I'll use this next week and I'll look at something different. It might be this right here and it might be from the Andromedans. It might be an aspect of me from the Andromedans and I'll go and do a channel on that. So these are my codes. It doesn't mean that I can take this and I can get somebody to do it on the computer and then I'll have my paper copy and then when I'm looking at it, there'll be things added to it because that's the seeing, that's the vibrational seeing, that's the invisible seeing, that's the third eye, that's the consciousness of God. I can see something and there'll be something added there. So then I'll have, which I did with my old illustrator, is I constantly had him go in and update my illustrations because I would be given things as I'm growing. So all of my work is coded for me. I'm a conduit. That's what it means. I'm growing in the expansion and contraction of source creator. It's the in and the out of the source creator. Those that are painters, those of you that are artists, I got my nose burnt in the sun last week. So it's all like scaly. Those of you that are painters, you can work with all the brushes and the things you've worked with for a while, and you can work with the same type of paint and you've got the same type of canvas. But if you've got a new tool, that's part of working with an expansion. You're going to activate something that you knew, maybe from another timeline or a lifetime where their tools were very crude, right? And they were very elemental, right? Like this is very juvenile, elemental. But back in the days, like of Leonardo da Vinci, they were very crude tools, very crude and very juvenile. And so they would have to have the greatest expertise to create such beautiful paintings out of such crude materials. And nowadays we have such, fast and, of the state of the art experiences. It doesn't make you a better artist or a better creator. It actually sometimes hinders you. So this is where we're going back to. This is where I'm inspiring this highest vibration of the highest creative timeline. The highest creative timeline is to be that more authentic, genuine, raw version of you as spirit. There is no pure expression. There just isn't. That is alignment. That is why when you see me on stage and somebody that says they are like me, or they're using my work, or they're copying my work, or they say they like me, that's when they're still in competition, right? Because they're filled with their no sense of self. So all they do is they direct the competition. And I'm giving this teaching as the higher vibrational multidimensional teachings. Not all vibrational healers and teachers are the same. They cannot be. They're not activated in their DNA the same. They don't come with the same gifts and skills. And if they're not doing the work activating those gifts and skills, they'll just be regurgitating what they did last year. This is why I offer every day, sit and be with your teams every day. And those that you're going to for spiritual guidance, are they working in the expansiveness of consciousness? And ask them to give you a few examples. Can you give me a few examples of how you transcended a core wound? How did you get to that core wound? How did you heal it in your chakras? Because that's what you're going to need to heal yourself. How can I heal my chakras? Are you being told about consciousness? What is consciousness? Consciousness is so airy-fairy and out there. How do you explain consciousness? It's the breathing in and out. It's the churning of God. It's the churning of source creator. And you do have to sit with the information. You have to trust that higher self. You have to trust that inner mechanism of light, and then just and then express it and be with it and churn it and be with it and churn it and be with it. You're going to get to it. Those that are entertainers, the more that you align your chakras and you have that intention to be the expression of who you are within, that is going to allow you the most authentic expression. And the energies on the outer are going to see, oh my God, her videos offer something different. It's just allowing me to be compelled to go within. It's being compelled to be in engagement with conversation, to be engagement with intention, to be engagement with the connection of relationship. There is so much for us to explore about relationship, and that's what entertainers do. Entertainers bring out that relationship. They inspire relationship. They inspire the unknown. They inspire the unseen. They inspire the unheard. There's people on our planet that have incredible, and this is where Source wants to take us, so we're doing a little bit of a creative, expansive experience right now. Because the entertainment industry has been very clone-like. It's been very doppelganger-like. There's not a lot of elasticity of pure spiritual gifts and pure spiritual alignment. There are those on the planet that have profound voices, and they offer, like myself, I have profound voice and profound code. I have to work on range because there's been so much magic and detriment done to my voice, though, for 50 years. So I'm going to have a range coach and a singing coach to bring those energies back out. But I have many, many, many lifetimes where I'm creating planets just with my voice, because it is a Christ consciousness code. It is where my magic happens, right? But my voice heard out in the genre industry. I'm not standard, I don't look standard. I don't want to be standard. I never want to fit into anybody's standard box. It would probably gross me out and I'd probably cry. To look standard or to look like anybody that, in any way. The voices like, beautiful voices like Adele. She has a unique and beautiful voice, and she has a powerful voice, and it's an impactful voice. There's various voices and there's various things within those gifts and skills because they're harmonized with who they are authentically. That's their authentic, genuine voice. There's not a lot of, faking or making of that. The more practiced you are in your consciousness, you have greater range. Yeah, you have greater elasticity because you're source creator. You can see, I can give visions of the 14th dimension and see what that looks like. It's mostly all waves of light and sound and color. You know, when you're getting up that high in dimension, because there is no physicality, they can create physicality at the fastest speed and the most refined speed and the most intricate speed, because they're higher vibrational, they're expanded in their light, and they're the widest in their consciousness because they're so connected with source creator. That's how big they are with source. You know, I still play with that sometimes. Like, my God, what are 13th dimensional creators look like? You know, what do you feel? Give me a moment of what you feel being source creator. You know, so it's really fun to go there. But that's the elasticity. So that's the creativeness. That's the imagination. That's the flexibility of voice and tone. And voice and tone doesn't mean you have to hit those highest notes and be the only one that can hit that. And that's not what creative genius is. The creative genius is the connection of the relationship of essence. That's what that is. And if you write that down, that's a code. Because when I said that code, I just got a spark. That's how I know that's a code. So anybody that watches this anybody that watches this video, now and future now moments, they want to take that sentence and they want to play with that sentence as an essence of Christed light. That is the Christed teaching from Lord Sananda. That's just inside of me, and I just offer it. When I say those one sentences, it's very sweet, it's very simple, and that's a code. So take it and work with it. That's an art. That's a piece of art. You don't get to say that that's yours and then you copyright it, because that's just being somebody that's deceitful, because your intention is not to play in the essence of creative source. Your intention is to make money on something that somebody else gave you. And that's why I've been sitting with nothing for so long, because all of the elites and all of the people that have been doing what they've been doing, now they're sitting in a whole bunch of negative karma because they have to see the damages that they've done to me. And God will show them. There will be no mercy shown on any of these people. The damage is done to my multidimensional bodies and my health has been monumental. And so I have some wonderful surprises that God is going to bless me just on my surviving what they've done, and bringing out these corrupt trafficking rings. Because once a few of them start coming up, the momentum is to clear all trafficking rings on the planet out. And so that we can live as the highest vibrational beings. Can you imagine the consciousness level of our collective, 1 or 2 trafficking rings being taken up, and we actually intend as a collective to heal? Any of those beings that are coming up for those trafficking rings, and the intention of the collective is to heal all beings coming up from lower vibrational black web markets, and to heal. We're going to have to come up with new judicial. We're going to have to come up with new healer. We're going to have to come up with new support and aid. We're going to have to come up with new policing and investigation. These are healing activities. This is what I teach. How can it not add value and consciousness to the collective? This is why I'm a leader. Because again, I can go off in a million different directions. Yeah, let's go there. There's a lot of codes there. What can we do there? We're going to rewrite policing so that the police aren't showing up after the fact. The police aren't showing up after there's things being done. So then it should be after policing, because you're not there before it. You kind of know about it, but you're turning a blind eye to it, because the laws don't support dark occult magic and the things that people do in masonry groups, and they're going absolutely against the law, and everybody in the system, they have people to pay off. So how's justice for somebody like me? Somebody like me that shouldn't be here, and yet I have the highest teachings on the planet in different ways and colorful ways and magnetic ways that are here to advance creation. Well, we're creative beings, aren't we? It's called creation. Shouldn't we be talking about this every hour? Like it's very coded in who we are. It's very coded. So why don't we play with the codes? Wouldn't that make sense? But no, there's people trafficking them and selling them and destroying them and attacking them. There's actually people that sit around, plot and plan, and get paid to see how many attacks they can do on my chakras. So when do I get to live a life where I'm just left alone? When do I get that? So these people get to walk around and they do whatever they want. They get all of their crimes and their actions turned a blind eye to. They don't get charged, and there will be crimes, because your intention is where the crime occurs. It's your intention. If you're plotting and planning and you're intending, magic and voodoo is all about intention. So your intention right there is premeditated murder, intent to kill, intent to harm. If your intention is to have sex with somebody and you know that you have an STD that is detrimental to another person and you don't tell them about it, that is intent to infect. If you've actually gone through and had sex with somebody when you know that you have a disease and you have not informed them, that is intent to infect. That is intent to alter somebody's life and soul and health. At this day and age and this time, I implore all of you, every morning wake up and ask yourself and recite to yourself and affirm to yourself, I am the highest vibrational responsible being for my life and my outcome. I'm responsible for my reality. I'm responsible for the health of my body. I'm responsible for thought, word, and deed. You're never going to blame anyone else. You're never going to slough it off to anyone else. You are responsible for your health and what you do. You're responsible for every spell. You're responsible for how you treat people. You are responsible for how you treat people. So if you're doing black magic behind the door and in the closet, it's your responsibility to stop, because you're doing it to yourself. And that's why karma and reality consciousness is showing you. You're getting that karma back. It can be no other way. Karma is the quantum law. It's real. You cannot just keep doing spells and spells and spells on somebody and then walk around and think you're going to be blessed and you're getting money because there's a hate group in the underground black web that's going to pay you to take me out. And you're going to go on a vacation somewhere because you've already got the tickets planned. So your plan was to take out a mother whose light and DNA activations the children need so that they can become their highest and they have their soul's blueprint that rely on the parents' activations of their DNA. Did you know that? Most parents don't even know that. I teach that. And so how is that a bad thing? I teach quantum energy. Go listen to Lee Carroll. Go listen to Daniel. Go listen to Lee Carroll. Lee Carroll has hundreds and thousands of videos, and he talks about the quantum energy, the science of God and the God of the science. Life is God and God is life. There is no life without quantum science. There is no life without God. There's no God without life. It has nothing to do with religion. Religion is just how we separated it into little minds of land and people. Okay, so you have an Eastern belief. Now you have a Western belief. Now you have a Western Canadian belief. Now you have an Eastern Canadian belief. How about we just have a oneness belief? How about that? How about we start at the highest place? How about that? How about we go there? Why not? Why stay dissected and separated in tiny little boxes? You can stay in that department store if you want. If you're going into a mall and there's 150 stores in that mall, that is what religion is like. You can try that religion out. You can try that religion out. You can try that religion out. Expand who you are. Get to know people's beliefs. But don't stay there, because the all is the all. There's always a bigger umbrella. Oneness is oneness. It's not saying the religions are bad. It's saying there's always something bigger. And don't discriminate and don't push people and don't go forcefully in their lanes and don't stalk them and spy on them and hate them and throw hate at them and then gang people to throw hate at them. And then every time there's a full moon, you get 10 and 20 and 30 people together and throw hate spells and blood spells and death rituals at them. Who are you? A very hateful, vengeful, envious, jealous person because somebody wants to be who they are and they are who they are. And I'm going to stand on the stages of the world and I'm going to be as authentic and the vibrations of who I am and the core vibration of who I am and the Christed essence of who I am and the vibration of Mother, Father, God of who I am. And I will bow, because the essence of me is who I am. It's practiced. It's who I am. It's who I like to be. I love to be who I am. And it's felt. So be you. Who are you? There's so many people that are lost, and dogmatic teaching and dogmatic entrenching, that's what it does. It rips the core creative expression of who you are, and you're like a little robot. Sit here, stand here, get on your knees here, take the bread here, take your vows there. And most of these people have no idea who they are, and that's why they go in the back room and they hide who they are. And they do these underground little practices and who they are because they want to explore who they are, but they don't have the right to explore who they are because nobody's given their permission to explore. Nobody's given them permission to express who they are in a different body or a different feeling of gender or a different feeling of race. And they feel so closeted and they practice all these little underground things. They become so boxed up and so, you can see the stress of it all. Okay, or you could just live a relaxed, flowing life. If you want to understand that there for a day, go explore that. Give yourself permission. Who are you? What's your sovereignty? Right? A person that is strong in their sovereignty. Learn whatever religion you want to learn, but it's not who you are in totality. You are the multiverse. You are the multiverse. There's things in other universes we can't even comprehend. We don't even have words for it here. So why can't that be a concept? They're showing me a word right now that is not from this universe. Now, just because I'm saying these letters, they're not showing me a sound yet because I'm working on this letter. I'm showing me a vision. U-U-L-A, U. Ula, ula, ula. It's a sound, it's a harmonic. Isianamakara ula, ula, ula. Isianamakara tekenamakara tekana, isianamakara tekenamakara tekesianama aya, naya, But we've been trained for certain letters to have certain sounds. But as you become higher in consciousness, you're calling in different threads of different harmonics of different octaves. I'm an octave specialist. That code. Thank you for giving me that code. Thank you, Holy Spirit. See, I'm unfolding just before you. I'm unfurling as the lotus flower before you. That sound was helping me clear one of the detriments in my throat chakra. Thank you, Holy Spirit. And that was from another universe gifted to me. Thank you, Holy Spirit. Thank you, Holy Spirit. I love you. I love you so much. Thank you, Holy Spirit. I saw it in my third eye. I spelled it out for you. I'm giving you what an activation looks like. That's doing the churning. That's doing the work. I show you how to do the work. I'm your teacher, I'm your guide. Doesn't it feel good to connect? We're spiritually connecting right now. We're spiritually engaging right now. Do you feel the temperature in the room increasing? Why? Because you're higher spirit right now. That offering from that other universe was a gift to me that helped me clear out my throat chakra. It was a high vibrational code, and it was a sound. It was an octave. Right? It's not, you turn on the radio, you're not going to hear that sound. Right? Because we're so entrained in that certain low vibrational consciousness. So now we want to expand our minds. Arts and entertainment and creativity, it's going to be like we've never seen it before, and we've experienced it before. It's going to be so raw within our chakras. We're going to bring the energies from our chakras out. We're going to bring the wisdoms and information from our chakras out. And we're going to have activations that are going to clear things that have been there for hundreds of years. I just looked. I just saw this. I just recognize this. Voices. And it just comes another synchronicity. I was scrolling through my videos last night and I found a video for the voice that I did when I lived in Japan. And I did those classes in Japan. It was really nice. That company was called The Voice. I loved that time in Japan. I love Japan. I did some teaching there. And so we want to talk about that. Take me back to that thread spirit. That was really important. I love that juiciness of what you just said there. So because Joanna has been, and Celeste has been vocational specialists with sound and harmonics, it's one of her core themes with Father God. And Father God and her have much fun in the creational realities, and most of her realities are structured around sound and song. And she's been a songstress in many Pleiadian timelines. They're showing me that very sacred rock in Sri Lanka. Sigera, I think it's called. S-E-G-U-R-A, Sigiriya, Sri Lankan rock. And there's many Pleiadian downloads there. It's a very special sacred space, very sacred energy there. And we did a lot of singing and chanting along with a lot of the megaliths that have encodings in them and pictures in them and pictographs in them. And many of them are the harmonics of sound and the intentions of sound and the intentions of source and the intention of light and the intention of light and the intention of light. And just letting those last octaves just hang and just hang. There's codes in there. And those in the higher heavens can see when things have been cleared out, because there was a big pocket of density there. And when you made that sound, it cleared out all that density. That's what they show me. That's what they see. When I showed me that word was the word to me. You think in your 3D language, you say, okay, you write those letters on the paper. How does that sound to you? But in a higher consciousness state, it's an octave to clear out something in your chakras. Because sounds do that. Sounds clear away density. Sounds move energy. Sound moves energy. Sound is the breath of God. God is the breath of all life. God is life and life is God. See, now you're moving into a higher octave of intelligence, people. I'm offering you higher intelligence wisdoms of information. This is information at a high intellect. Sound moves energy. Energy is the movement.
So if there's a dense block of energy that's not moving, it's stagnant. It's maybe a cult of hateness, and the hateness just sits there, and the hate and the hate and the hate and the hate. Make no mistake that there's going to be movement in there somehow, some way, and it's going to be sound-based. It will always be sound-based first, and it might not be heard by your ears because you've conditioned yourself to a certain octave of hearing and sounding and informing and lessening and discerning and deciphering for you what sound is. Sound is magnificent. Sound is all that is creation. Sound lifts you up in your spirit. Spirit is the only quickener. And so we can say that we're in class near dotted ones. What can you say spirit is? Spirit is sound. Spirit is color. All that spirit is moving. Sound. So play with sound. Be the excitement of the sacred child. There's nothing more exciting than having a room filled with musical instruments and having the children just play. Boxes of things that make ticks and clicks and chirps and all these beautiful sounds, and just watch the children play. They understand. They're shaking things up. And so what we know to be music is going to shift and change, so have it be okay, open. Open and allow your chakras to bring forward wisdoms and truths and stories and poems and rawness. Where you're on stage in just 15 minutes of a vibrationally aligned being, and you can tell, where did this being drop from? They're alive. They're showing life to creation. They're showing life within energy and movement again, and people feel alive in front of them. They want to explore who they are in these different vibrations of compaction and expansion. And you're theatrical, because that's spirit. Spirit wants to move you. Spirit wants to play with you and mold you. Your higher self knows who you are. Your higher self says, there's a gift here. Did you know there was a gift? Are you practicing your gift? Do you know that there's magic in that right there, right there, right there? I can see it. I can see it. And you're walking around so shut off, and you're on your phones all the time, and you're not playing with the children. You're not talking with the children. You're not talking with the geniuses that are so a little bit unordinary and unorthodox and a little bit awkward. That's exactly what you want. That's the next inventiveness. That sound, that code, that sentence, and explore that sentence. That sentence is alive. When Celeste said that that's a code, that's a code. That means that that one sentence can expand into a million other sentences. That's what is coded. Her work is coded. It's coded. It expands for her. It's her creation. It's not going to work for anybody else. You're wasting your money. You're wasting your money going to people that want to be fake. You're wasting your money. And that's the way they're going nowhere. That's why they will have blockages. That's why they will be blocked off. They're told they're going to be blocked. Why? Because you spent 10 years trying to block me. You spent 10 years trying to block my chakras. Well, guess what? I'm an eternal being, and I reclaim all that I am as the divine Holy Christ. And it doesn't mean I'm in Jesus' body, and it doesn't mean I'm going to recreate Christianity. It doesn't mean that at all. You're on a different planet, you're in a different realm, you're in a different consciousness. That's not who I am. I am of Christ consciousness. It's ever eternal movement of God, period. Essence of light, of sound, of ever, ever, I want it to be. Because I get to choose, I'm sovereign. I'm sovereign, I'm sovereign, I'm sovereign, I'm sovereign, I'm sovereign. I will never have a handler, ever. You cannot place a leash on me. You cannot place boxes and ceilings and walls on me. I'm wild. I want to be that. I want to express spirit in the wildest of ways. It's going to bring humanity back to life again. There are certain beings on the planet that are very creative geniuses, and when they step on stage, you can see it and they're meant to be there. They bring an essence of energy that is pure and raw and genuine, and it's palpable. They have such an alignment. And this is where you know a true entertainer and a true starseed. When they go on stage, they know it is just something that they just have to do and be. And it just is a magical harmonization. It's like a connection. It's like the two atoms meeting. And life is never the same. Forever creation is altered because those absolute chemicals and those compounds and those constituents and those magnetisms are there. They have sound to present. They have the body and the essence to present it. It's God's perfection. And those that do it with pristine alignment of, let's just see what happens and have fun. I've got an audience in front of me. When I said to you earlier, do you want to just open yourselves up to being spiritual just for a minute? Do you want to connect in a spiritual way? Do you want to connect as being spirit? Do you want to connect with your chakras? Do you want to connect in a different way that you haven't connected with all week? I can guarantee you the people on the line, they're showing me 78%. 78% of you in your week that we've just finished and completed, none of you have sat before somebody that was genuinely honored to be with you in a spiritual way and co-create with you in a spiritual way. When I asked that, would you like to open up and would you want to create, spiritually? Can we have a spiritual connection? 78% of you have not had a spiritual connection this week. Therefore, thus then are we evolved. Therefore, thus then are we the highest creators. Therefore, thus then are you your highest health. Therefore, thus then are you in your highest light. Therefore, thus then are you a higher sacred child. Therefore, thus then are you sovereign. I want to connect with you spiritually, dear lighted ones. I see your soul and I see your spirit. It's not your money I see, it's not your things, it's not your shiny things, it's not your things you've accomplished. I don't see that at all. I don't care about that. I pierce through it. Doesn't mean anything to me, but I'm happy for you. I'm happy that you've done such things and you've gathered such things. Good for you. But I see the soul that wants to be spiritual. I see the soul that wants to level up in their soulfulness. I want to see the soul that wants to come forward and say, I've never been spiritual before, but what happened there just made me feel so accepted and so belonging. I felt godly there for just a second. We've gotten ourselves away from so many distractions and the separations and discriminations, and that was the intention. The intention of distraction is to get you away from who you are. So anybody that keeps offering you distraction after distraction after distraction, heed and discern. They do not care for your soul or your spirit. They want you to stay distracted. They want you to stay away from yourself and separate from yourself. And they want to keep doing the MK Ultra, to keep testing and throwing hate at your chakras and throwing sounds and hate groups that are paid to chant hate over your chakras and hate over your pictures and images. And they think that you're going to turn into this ugly ball of mess and you're going to turn into who they are. No, because my word has power. Your word doesn't. Your word is in the mud. It does not affect my cells. Why? Because my cells are light. You're not getting it. You're not getting the quantum experience. I'm showing you. Would you like to have a spiritual conversation today? Where's your heart at? Who are you? Why do you think that the Shroud of Turin left the diamond? That was a quantum equation. That was a quantum. That was quantum residue. That was an imprint. That's the imprint of the Christ. That's the not the Jesus of the body. That's the Christ consciousness. It's still there. The energy, the vibration that Jesus was is there. Why? He lived through his heart. I show you that. I offer that to you. And my platform has been forever closed and no growth. I will never monetize out of this channel unless YouTube opens it up and does right. They don't want me to monetize. They don't want me to monetize who I am as spirit. Well, if you can monetize out of hate and trafficking children and innocence, and you can monetize paying people to suppress the beautiful, sacred voices of movement and voices of sound and voices of pure godly truth, and you silence me, and you make money. So where is the corruption, dear lighted ones? Is the corruption in spiritual alignment, creativity? Spiritual alignment, who you are a source? Spiritual alignment is sound and octaves and knowing big things and knowing profound things and knowing grand things and knowing you're intelligent for a moment or two, you're in spirit. Isn't that fun? Does that wake you up a little? Or you can be conformed to trafficking and selling and bidding and harvesting and harvesting and harvesting and copying other people because you've forgotten your sense of self, because you've been entrained out of your sense of self, because you've been informed in doctrines, situations, and church and state that want you to be like this and this and this and this and follow us, follow the herd, follow the herd, follow the herd, and off the cliff you go. They're not going to have you back. They don't care about you and they keep showing you every hour. And when I come in pure truth, make no mistake about it, because they're showing me. Thank you, Holy Spirit. Thank you, Holy Spirit. Thank you, Holy Spirit. I have access to all realms, dear lighted ones, and I can say what I wish. And I wish to activate you in your hearts and your souls. I don't care what other people think about me. That's not my job. My job is to be aligned in my godliness. And God says, wow, there she goes again. She's waking creation up. There's been so much darkness there, and one being like myself comes in and shakes things up with a little bit of intonation, a little bit of excitement, a little bit of spirit, a little bit of harmony, a little bit of harmonization in who I am as spirit. Because I'm alive. Every cell within me is alive and I feel my chakras spin. That's alignment, dear lighted ones. That's creativity at its highest. And this part of the galaxy is forever altered in my beingness. Make no mistake about it, where I walk, things change. And when I leave, people know that I've left. Good or bad, make it of your own decision. I don't care. I know where I am matters. I know how I am matters. I know how I play matters. And me and God are besties. Yes, you are, daughter. You see, daughter, I placed you there. I placed you in such places of such sadness and disconnection. For you are the light of connection, and you are the light of sound and song that brings crystalline vibrations of newness where there was death before. And in the mud of what was, conformity, in the mud of what was is practiced out of being who you are. And you're okay with that. You're okay to be conformed out of who you are. Well, you're never walking around saying a genuine thing your entire week. You'd never had a spiritual connection all week. Are you kidding me? You could talk to a tree. That's a spiritual connection. And then, but people might say I'm crazy. I'm talking to a tree. And maybe that's one of your gifts. Maybe there are songs within trees that you're meant to create. Make no mistake about it. There's many books out there now from high vibrational people that have written about the language of trees. How do you think they communicate? The godly. They reach up to the heavens. Of course trees have a language. Every aspect of life does. And it's only ignorance that says it isn't. So sit in your ignorance. But I choose to have everything be vibrational. And it is. And I want to be theatrical with it. I want to be playful with it. I want to be alive with it. I want to color, dance. Because I am a being of light, dear lighted ones. I will never act like anybody else. I don't want to. I want to be alive. When I pass over and when I choose to change realms, when I choose to change bodies, I am in the most harmonic bedding of light with God. And I say, I'm so fucking proud of what I have done and who I have been. Never in a moment will I ever want to be conformed to somebody else's picture or version of what is standard. Oh, it just sends shivers down my spine. Why would I want to be standard? I want my voice to be mine. I want my voice to be purely mine. I want my movements to be purely mine. When I say I have a code, it's a code, and what it can be to you, that's your code. It's not mine. So take your code and go with it. I'm offering a Christed code that can go anywhere. Take it. Work with it. What do you got? When you start loving who you are, your abundance is just going to be who you are. Your abundance is held within your heart, dear lighted ones. Say that one more time. Say it out loud. Say it out loud. Say it out loud. My abundance and the treasures are found within my heart. When you are aligned within your heart, all things are abundant. And you're going to go through processes and you're going to go through journeys and trials and tribulations. Why? Because you want to be an expanded master. And a master ain't going to be a master if you're not experienced in all that there is to experience. Can you get up 100 times? Can you speak when people say shut up? And you're speaking of intelligence, you're speaking of light, you're speaking of impact, you're speaking of influence that matters to people because it hits them where they need to be hit. And they say, wow, you told me that I was important today and I didn't believe it. When I'm here and I'm by myself, there's things that I do and I dance and I speak and I want to play and I want to bring songs to the earth. But when I go on stage, they might think I'm a bit weird. Then so be it. Be awkward. Be the one that brought awkward back to earth. Be the one that brought mudras back to the earth in playful dancing ways. Because we're going to use mudras. We're going to use these things in our playfulness, in our creativeness, because we're meant to be. You're divine light beings, dear lighted ones. If I'm coming from a multiverse and I have infinite star clusters within me, infinite star clusters, that's what they said to me. Who said this? Arcturians. When they were taking me back to that soul fragment that I healed in being the Arcturian on the Area 51 table. And they were saying that you're very rare on this planet. And I said, well, okay, tell me some more, because I'm trying to put the pieces together. I'm trying to make it feel like I fit in my own life story. My life story is very fragmented. I want to bring harmony to my life story. Give me these pieces that are missing, please, Spirit. And I went through a 3-day healing process. And they said it's very important that we move forward in our plan and our agenda with the Divine Father's plan for ascension. Because not only are you connected with this one planet that is held in the densest places of space in this particular time, And it's moving through a very important ascension. And we're moving with great momentum and great liquidity, because there's so many people awakening day by day, and they want to be their more authentic self. Because they like what they see and they feel, even if it's awkward for a little bit, but the next day it's not so awkward. It feels fun. Why can't we have fun again? And you're the one to bring this. You're the one to bring this hope of fun, the hope of promise to say, why can't we be who we are? Why do you have to throw such hate because I'm different? Isn't different good? Isn't it good to have a different colored cookie in your cookie bin? Isn't it good to have a different voice on the radio? Or do we all have to hear the same thing? How monotone. We're here to bring new life, delighted ones. You're here to bring new things to things and things to things together and mix them together and say, wow, we didn't think that would work, but look at that. It works. It works. God knows. And when things are fragmented, and Spirit will say to you, why is there such an importance, Spirit? Why is there such an importance? I haven't understood, because there's still veils that haven't been shown to me, and God will only unveil it in the perfect divine timing, and I have to be okay with that. But why is it the importance of hundreds and hundreds and even thousands of people that have such a play and such a dig and such a bet on my life? It's the Truman Show, and I've been living in other people's illusions and veils of their stories, and they have no idea who I am, because God will never ever show it to anybody that does not respect life. You don't deserve it. You're betting on life. You're trading on life. You're selling my name in the underground. You're not going to get shit. You're going to get exactly where your vibration is. You're going to be vibrating and passing money off with other low vibrational people, and then you're going to be shipped off to Epstein Earth, because that's what you wanted, that's what you chose. But I ain't there with you. My vibration is too high. That's what I'd rather be me. I'd rather be awkward, because I ain't going to be like you. I ain't going to sell life. How dare you? To higher vibrational beings, it's inconceivable. What's done with sacred life here on the planet, it's inconceivable. People most of the time walk by, they have no spiritual connection with anything. It's inconceivable. Everything's spirit. So shut off. No wonder the chakras are not moving. Every day sit and align your chakras and open the chakras up with light. Open your chakras up with light. Intention, intend light into your life. Intention, intend light into your life. And so, in that vision of the Area 51, which is a very dark, remember we're talking about quantum balance, so we always know this as healers. When we're dealing with something, we're pulling up that soul fragment that is very dark, and I saw myself on that Area 51. It took me 3 days to heal from this. And the team said, but we're going to align you, and that's a fragment that had to had to be made whole. That fragment had to be made whole. Okay, so I'm making it whole. How can I call this in to be a part of me and to be a part of my story? How do I make this a beautiful song of my story? Well, Celeste, if you understand within the universe that there's many clusters of many star systems and many beings that we don't have names for, many planets and many aspects of being and many aspects of DNA that are held within your DNA, from the many star systems that you belong to. Many star systems that you belong to, and might activate that codon right there. And I said, well, that's wonderful. Can you give me an idea? Star systems I haven't even heard about. Wow, I like that. That sounds fun. But I didn't know, and I don't know, because I surrendered to God. And I said, God, you know all life. I don't. There's going to be something very magical happen, dear lighted ones, for those of you that will be on the ride of ascension. And those gifts and skills and talents that we talk about, that you activate in being who you are and being authentic and being genuine and being awkward and weird sometimes, because you like to be playful with life. You like to be playful with sound. Your voice can be whatever you want. It activates various aspects of you if you're allowing yourself to play and authentically being you. And when these shifts occur, dear lighted ones, you're going to activate those aspects of you that might not even be from this universe. It's going to be a star system that needed that light of when you accepted and owned yourself as being whole and creative and collected with your Christ consciousness. You're collecting aspects of yourself. And you're going to bring it into this now. Because this spark of me using these sounds now, how did I say that word? Ooh la, ooh la, That sound activates something in that universe that needed to be activated, and that portal just got opened. So the Octavarian said, you're from many clusters. And I said, what does that mean? Well, that means that all of these little touch points that I have, they're just naturally with me. The little touch points of all these different star systems and all these different places and spaces and octaves. They're octaves of Source, delighted one. Source is everything. Source is the omnipresence. Source is within Source is within Source, the void of Source, beyond the void of Source. Source is between breath. Source is his breath. The spaces between the threads of the dimensions and the bandwidth of its threads, that's all Source. That uniqueness, that creation, and those of you that are entertainers and those that you have been icons and mavericks, you have brought something that nobody else has brought, whether it be a speed or an intonation or how you roll words. It doesn't matter what that thing is. There is an essence of uniqueness that is only within your DNA. There's only within you. It's the building of you. It's the creatorhood of you. It's the godliness of you. And why, when you're on stage, people love to see you? Because you said there is something profoundly unique within me, and by God, I'm going to get up. And I'm going to bring that pain and that tragedy. I'm going to get up for the 100th time, the 100th, 300th time, the 1000th time. You can keep throwing your spell work at me all you want. I'm just going to keep clearing my throat, and God's going to make me brand new. Because God is. And I'm going to keep getting up, and I'm going to be on that stage because there's 1,005,000 bajillion essences that need me to be exactly me, because I thread everywhere and I know it. They show me. They show me that portal of light that just opened up because I sang that song and that word that had never been heard before on this planet. Doesn't that make you feel special? So when I say go play with sound and be joyous in that sacred child, it means just that. Align with your sacred child. Who the fuck cares what people think about you? If they care and they think about that of you, then they're not meant to be in your circle of awkwardness and uniqueness and profundity. Because who wants to be standard? Standard ain't going to be in the category of icon and maverick. Make no mistake about that. And are you okay with it? You're here to invent something that's never been invented before, and it's beyond 10 light years away from the consciousness average on the planet. Are you okay with that? And that was Tesla. He was light years ahead of the consciousness that he was moving around. And why? Most higher vibrational beings like that, geniuses like that, they always die alone. Because they're forever fighting for their voice that's 10 or 15 light years ahead. I'm light years ahead of most of the consciousness, and why I always get attacked, I don't care. God's going to make me and remake me and rebuild me and rebuild me. But I know that in certain sounds and in certain playfulness and certain owning who I am and claiming who I am and standing tall in who I am and vibrating in who I am, I'm giving light to everybody. I'm giving light to those people that actually want the light. And they're going to see, yeah, there's something exciting about that. For the first time I felt alive this week. I had a spiritual connection. That's what spirit's about. You think God's sitting around all monitoring? You want to have a spiritual connection? You want to have a spiritual connection? We'll talk about all the standard things on earth. You want to create the standardness? You want to have a connection of standard? That's a version of God, but that's a very boring version of God. So funny. No, God's on stage. God's on stage. Each and every one of you, your story is a stage. Start there. Your life is your stage. Don't wait for anybody to say, come and be a part of our famousness. Why would you wait for that? Why would you wait for that? Why would you wait for anybody to say, we want to make you famous? Come and stand on our stage. Why would you do that? No, I'm pretty famous on my own. I don't need your stage, but thanks. That's not God. God is godly. Go out and sit near a tree and be godly. Nature will wake you up to how godly you are. Make no mistake about that. And she will hit your cells, and she will hit your tissues, and she will hit the firmament. Guy is in the firmament. Spirit is the quickener. Are your cells in your body, is it goosebumpy? Because we just said that, and that's an activational word. Firmament. The Christ consciousness is in firmament. That's why spirit is the only quickener. When I speak, it matters. You take from it what you will. I don't care. I'm an activator. I walk with Anubis. I walk with those people that are ready for the crossroads. Where are they going to go? I know my role here. It's not your role, it's mine. So get out of my business. I just want people to allow me to be the fullest version of me. Why? Because when I'm the fullest version of me, I'm activating the fullest version of you. That's what you haven't understood. It's a quantum equation. So if I'm suppressed and not allowed to be me, if you take away the golden calf, you take away the sacred womb, what do you got? You got extinction. Everybody's walking around and, so you want to have a spiritual conversation today? I'm a spiritualist. I don't get excited very much, but I'm a spiritualist. There's spirit running through my body. I don't get excited at all. No joy running through my body at all. But I know everything about spirit. What do you want to know about spirit? I copy people's work online and they're spiritual, so it must mean I am. You want to talk about spirit?
Hai shianamaka e te ke se anaka a. E namakata te ke shianamakata te ke nama e anaya. Ai shianamakata ke shianamakata e lai namakata te ke shianakata ka maa e. Tai amaka.
So, dear lighted ones, you are perfect as you are in every moment. Explore, experience, and express yourself brand new every day. Use your voice because it's spiritual. Nothing more spiritual than your voice. If it's connected with your throat chakra, what does that mean? That means there's gifts in there. That means there's stories in there. That means there's songs in there. So start to play, dear lighted ones. Who are you? What will you create for yourself in this new Earth star? The highest creativity that humanity has ever seen. Why? Because they're more comfortable in themselves, more comfortable in their body. They're saying, fuck standard. I'm getting in my body. I'm going to get on stage. And you invite your friends over. We're going to have a great dinner. And guess what? We're going to move the furniture out of the way and everybody's got whatever time they want to be on stage. I want you to feel comfortable and be in your highest spiritual self. Go. And you support that person and being who they are. And maybe that person comes forward with a story they never told anybody, but it's who they are and they're clear in their density. And maybe somebody's coming forward and say, wow, I want to explore myself being attracted to the same sex. Is that okay with you all? I love you all, but I'm going through these changes. I want to experience myself in moving through these changes. Will you support me? Will you love me? And you celebrate them and you say, yes, absolutely, we love you. It's unconditional. Just be responsible and be communicatory. We love you. Thank you for sharing your true, authentic version of who you are. Thank you for bringing us together in this very special moment where we're getting to be on stage and being who we are, exactly who we are, exactly who we are. Because you've never been heard before exactly who you are. You've always been asked to conform. You've always been asked to change yourself. You've always been asked to calm down. You're so sensitive. Oh, I can talk about anything in the universe that I want to. Why can't I? Does anybody want to get together with high vibrational conversation? Why not? I can talk about things that don't really matter too, because that matters too. I can talk about rocks. I like rocks. Rocks always talk to me. It's a part of Gaia. I talk to rocks. I talk to nature. I talk to animals. I talk to spirit. I talk to things that you don't think are there, but are there. I see them. I see spirit. You don't. So then you're going to throw spells at me. You're going to say I'm a demon. Well, you're the one that's throwing spells and you're the one that's throwing hate. Aren't you the demon in this story? You're the one that's paying people to take me out and kill me. Aren't you the demon in this story? You're standing in front of a church, you're telling your patrons that you are churchly and you are godly, and yet you're paying money to go and take out a divine feminine healer who's supposed to amplify the energy on this planet, and she's going to bring octaves higher on this planet that's never been seen before. Now, who's the demon in this story? Because I get excited and I want to share joy and I want to share spiritual alignment, I want to share spiritual godliness in different ways, in unique ways, because most of the people on this planet are hybrids, and we're not waking up because we're all being told and taken out and harvested. Do you know what it's like to be harvested for your whole life, dear lighted ones? To be used and abused and taken from? Well, your monies aren't your monies and everybody's got a handle on your monies, but you sit in poverty and nothingness? What do you think that makes you? I would rather be me than anybody like those people. And that's why they're going to keep getting karma. Because the things that they have done are just unconceivable. I don't understand why people do what they do. And that money clout chasing, to be standard, to be like somebody else, where you're walking in a room and you got to be somebody else. Every time you walk into a new room with new people in it, you got to be somebody else. That's called shape-shifting. Shape-shifting is a real gift for the stage, dear lighted ones. And you can be like anybody. But what happens when you're wanting to have a real soulmate connection, and I'm showing you right here, in every one of my videos, go back to my earliest videos and I'm the same authentic version of spirit. Go back. That's why these people that are on the line that are my most loyal clients, they know how authentic and genuine I am because I bring it. That's who I am. I've always been this way. And I want to get more comfortable being more awkward. I want to get more comfortable bringing new inventions. I want to bring new ideas and new thoughts and new terms and new codes and new downloads. I'm going to bring downloads that have never been brought to this planet before. I already have. Nobody brings the downloads to this planet. I bring. And I have to keep stating it. Why? I shouldn't have to state it, but I do. Why? Because this is the way it's been for divine feminine. We got to fight our way through everything. We got to be the man and the woman all at once. Now you tell me that's not standard at all. Divine feminine have to fight 100 times harder than any man to be heard. I'm not going to wear your clothes. I'm not going to look like you want to look. I'm going to look the way I want to look because I love who I am. And get over it. Change your contracts. I get to talk about what I talk about because I'm here to ignite codes on this planet that are going to serve generations and generations and generations from here on out that are going to be crystalline and hybrid. You don't understand it, but I do. That's why I know my business and you don't know my business. Stay out of my business. You don't get me. You're never going to get me. God has given me light and codes right now that are going to be for generations to come. That's not your business. It's my business. I know it. I had a code. I said that code. I sang that code. That's my contract with God. I know my contract with God. I know I walk with Anubis. I know I have sounds. I know I have codes. I know I am who I am. It's not for you to understand. So because I don't fit in your box, you got to throw hate at me and you got to say I'm a demon. Well, you're the one throwing rocks. I'm calling you out on throwing the rocks. So then you hit more rocks at me. Okay, so I'm just going to bring you more truth. And you're still the demon in the story. Why don't you look at yourself? Why don't you get healed? I'll never stop calling out your truth. Because one day, when I call out that truth, you're just going to sit down and you're going to cry and you're going to work through your woundings. Because all you do is just impale hate. Because you want people to be your level of standard because that's how you make your money. You fool people. You stand in front of your pulpit and you fool people. That ain't godly. Dear lighted ones, to the demons in the room, be who you want to be and be who you want to be to your fullest. If you want to be fake to the fullest and at least own it. But those that are coming here to spark new generations and new creations and new... Oh, I just had a download. Thank you, Holy Spirit. Thank you, Holy Spirit. Thank you, Holy Spirit. Thank you, Holy Spirit. There's a moment of pause for this profundity, dear lighted ones. Shiana makata te ke, shiana makata te ka mai, shiana makata te ka naya, shiana makata te ka yana ka ia ka. Shia makata ke, shiama alai ke ala la 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 te shiama a. Thank you, Holy Spirit. I love you. Thank you, Holy Spirit. Spirit is saying I'm doing a great job being me. The Holy Spirit just showed me. I'm so excited to be, those that you desire, I'm so excited to be an inspirator for you because I want you to feel these beautiful things that only Father can give and only your higher self and only your teams, your loving, loving teams. I'm so excited. I'm just going to show you this one last thing and we're going to talk about our teams and our gifts. Father just showed me this sound that I made, opened up a way for that other universe, for the energy to flow through. And why you have such gifts that are so important. So really work with your soul's blueprint. Your soul's blueprint is so important. In the time and the energy that you've spent trying to be somebody else, trying to be like somebody else, trying to change who your persona is every room you go into because there's different people there and you want them to accept you, throw those energies away. That's not who you are. Be the fully authentic version of who you are because that room you walk in needs your authentic light. It needs that authentic sound, even though that sound has never been sung before, and even though it might not sound like a popular singer on the radio like Adele. Every bird in the forest is not meant to sound the same. Every insect is meant to sound different because the harmonics of that story are so profound. And that sound where we just made opened up density that's moving energy in, and there's beings that are helping that gateway of light make its way to that other universe. That's a version of me connecting with that other universe. These are just the beginnings of our multidimensionality moving into multiversality through sound. Humans have never thought this before. Isn't it like mind-boggling? When you sing and when you are fully in your light language, when you practice light language around the house, you are connecting with realms and beings and experiences and aspects of you. And I have goosebumps everywhere. Some of you have such great and beautiful light language and you're not practicing it. That's a gift. Practice your light language, your lighted ones. You're opening up portals to other universes and they want to speak with you. They want to be with you. And that's you. They're all versions of you. Say, we are doing something so profound on this planet. We're bringing unity to things that we never thought were conceivable. Why? Because you were held in such low consciousness. There are those that will be placed before you to wake you up and wake you and align you with a higher consciousness that is truth. Sound is truth. Love is truth. Alignment of who you are as a multidimensional being. And there are multiverses that are entangling and co-entangling in every moment. The question is, are you engaged? Do you have a relationship with Spirit? Are you aligned with your authenticity? Can you be okay with not being standard? Can you be okay with bringing a new version of beauty on your planet? Can beauty be now middle-aged? Can there be no ageism? Can there be no disenfranchisement? Why is there disenfranchisement within disenfranchisement? Can you be on stage for a moment and tell your story so that you break down the conformities? We all don't want to be trafficked. There are some of us that want to be great because we've always known we've been great and those around us said we weren't. Our life story is our stage and we're going to stand on it and in it and of it because that's Spirit. Spirit is the only quickener, and I'm empowering all of you and I'm inspiring all of you because that's what great leaders do. They give the power back to the people. You are divine creators that have never been here before in this way. For you to find your way to this platform that is the only platform that inspires multiversality of who you are as a dynamic being of light. You are breathed into creation through sound. Your soul's evolution requires that you practice and nourish it and be with it and honor it in all ways that are new and different. Can you be this? 5D is not 3D, dear lighted ones. Can this be okay for you? Can you go into the rooms that you go into and say, I'm authentically me? Thank God. Thank God I'm not fucking standard. And allow yourself to move apart the furniture and say, this is our stage for the night. And each and every one of you get your stage and you get your platform. And you're going to be exactly who you are. And we promise that we will accept you because you're source. Thank you for being you. Because in you being genuinely you, I get to be genuinely me. And I wouldn't want to be anybody else. Even if it took me through so much pain. And even if I have to see children crying from being trafficked and sexualized. And even if I see things that nobody else will ever see. I hear things that nobody will ever hear. But I'd rather be me. And I think I'm pretty beautiful. And God's gonna lift me. Each and every one of you are specks of crystalline light that are so authentic and unique, and God's got gifts within each and every one of you. And God right now is smiling, the biggest smile you would ever see the Father smile. And God's pointing the finger of God like God does in such majesty and presence. And you, and you, and you, and you, and you, and you. And all of you, and you, and you, and you, and you. God sees through the heart and soul, and God knows your soul's blueprint. You are so profound. Don't be standard. Be you. And you're going to have a soul's blueprint that's going to want you to explore different things and different feelings and different explorations. Some of you are so high vibrational and translateral. Just understand it at higher vibrational experience and then communicate in very responsible and divine ways because you respect your body. It's godly. You're going to be on stage. Creation is a stage for your delighted ones. Why? Well, it's in the name. It's creating. Your create ion. Go look up what an ion is. Creation. Creation. You're always on stage, delighted ones. The infinite beings are watching you. What will you do with this new earthly life? Will you allow the 3 A's to acknowledge and accept that all is God, you are too? And you can allow a new version by opening up the divine sacred heart and knowing that there's new energies of sequencing that's going to allow itself a new miracle if you just allow new energy. Isn't that the way? Isn't that godly an allowance? You see, these words mean something because it is. God has allowed all of you to be who you are, and even your most egregious moments, and God has given you grace beyond that. Because God knows your immaturity. God knows where you're at with your DNA. God understands it. God is so understanding. God has always provided you allowance and acceptance. Because God acknowledges you in all moments. You're still godly. You still belong to God. You're still one of God. You're choosing beliefs right now that are not allowing you to be godly. But you can change that if you like, because your beliefs and your perspectives are wholly up to you. Nobody's doing it to you. It's up to you. Choose your beliefs and your perspectives to be godliness. Doesn't mean you're powering and dominating somebody. That's not godly. That's fear. You have a wound inside you and you want to control people and you want to control narratives to make your stories fit. That's manipulation. So play that for a little bit, but then get out of it. Grow up. Allow people to be who they are. We don't want standard. We don't want Epstein. We don't want extinction. We want evolution. And how can you evolve by being the highest version of you? Through your expressiveness. Explore who you are. Be who you are. Experience who you are. Expand who you are. Enhance who you are. Excavate who you are. Explore, dear lighted ones. That spirit. Explore. Thank you, dear lighted ones. And we wanted to sign off. Thank you so very much. Thank you, thank you, thank you to the beautiful people and the 1 or 2 people that have donated. I love you. I love you. I love you so much. I ate this month because of your donation. So I'm so very grateful. Anybody that would like to book a healing session, an ascension session, a vocational alignment session, and those that would just love to give out of the pure of their heart, I am rebuilding my life brand new. And so I thank all of you that have come day after day after day, and you've loved and you've honored my genuine authenticity. I'm so very excited to get back into my sounds again, and they're showing me so many wonderful things that are multiversal. So I'm going to explain them as best I can as I go. So thank you for being a wonderful patient with my little drawings. And I'm going to sign off. I've got some more lovely things I want to create, and it's a beautiful day out there, so I'm going to go get out with Gaia. I love you all so very much. We're going to have so much fun creating New Earth Style. Remember to explore. Remember to play with sound, your breath to sound, and know that letting go of all of those things that are conformity and standard. And it's a good place to start, and that we can do those things when we're starting out new laws and things like that. It's a good starting place. But we want to go higher and bigger and better, and know that you're always connected with God. And we do love you so very much. So thank you, dear lighted ones. We're saying namaste. The God in me sees the God in you, and we love you so very much. Thank you for being